Cindy Crane here from Miniature Luxuries and Papers. I want to thank Scrapbook Expo for giving me this opportunity to talk about mini albums today. As I was planning the project, I got to thinking about how many times someone has come past the booth, seen the rows and rows of rice papers, said, "Oh, these are beautiful papers, but what do you do with them?" So that prompted the project, and I prepared a folio for you, and we're going to demystify rice papers. So sit back and enjoy. And at the very end, I do have a list of all the dimensions, all the products that you'll need, and I hope you'll try it. Okay, now to begin, we're going to take the mixed media glue and a large brush and just start applying the glue to the center of your cover. It's easier when you have a large piece of rice paper, to start in the center and work your way out. And once you have a nice coat, and you don't need a whole lot, but just make sure you have full coverage. Coat the back of your rice paper as well. And then just lay it down and try to line it up, say maybe on the score line. Once you have it in position, start from the center, and with your burnisher, just flatten it out, working from the inside out. Now you may notice some of the parts didn't catch. That's no problem. Just pull it back, add some more glue, and keep working to the outside. Now's a good time to check. Check on your score line, make sure you're lined up, and keep smoothing it out. As you work your way to the end, just pull back. Anything that's not going to stick is going to come up at this point. Add some more to the back of the rice paper. Now you can flip and start on the other side. I also want to mention too, if at some point when you get the paper down, if you notice the edges aren't sticking as well, that's no problem. Just kind of lift it up, stick your brush underneath, and then you can seal them up. Just keep smoothing. Now I always like to flip it over. You can flatten it out again. And one last time, take your burnisher. Okay, now that it's dry, we're going to trim it. You could actually, if you wanted a rough edge, or just to make it a little more rustic looking, you could just tear this off at this point. But I'm just going to use my X-Acto blade and take it close to the edge. And trim it right off. So go around all four sides, and you'll be ready to go. Okay, now let's finish the inside. Now you're going to have two sheets. One of them is a 3.5 by 8 3/4, and the other is a 3 3/8 by 8 3/4. And we're going to attach them to the inside flaps. For this, I'm using the 𝐂𝐨 gel. It's a clear gel. And it's relatively new, but it works great when you're attaching cardstock. Okay, next we're going to take our 9 waterfalls and the pieces that we cut out and just attach them to the backer card. Just make sure you center it on your card. And then just finish the other 8. Okay, now my cover is completely dry. I have the papers attached to the waterfall pieces, and what I did is when I was first making this, I laid out how much depth I had for the waterfall. So this is a good time to just set it down inside and see where you want your waterfall to start to make sure you have enough room. So for the first piece, and I'm using this narrow tip cola gel. It's by Stamperia. And it's a nice heavy duty adhesive. And it sticks very quickly. So just line it up between your scores. And you also want to make sure that you're got it nice and straight, because that's going to affect your waterfall the whole way down. I'll just burnish that down. And if you don't want to use the glue, red tape would work really well too. Anything that's going to be a nice solid adhesive. Okay, so we got the first one down. And I can see I'm going to need a little bit of glue down there. And we'll take care of that. So now from experience, let's make sure that we get it to the edges. You don't want it to spill over the sides too much, but for the adhesion you're going to need to do that. And then you just line your next one up. Get that in place. And then you can check yourself to make sure that they're lining up. And now that you have that started, just finish all the way down and do all 9 of your panels. Now, for the interest in time, I went ahead and I made a small envelope out of your background paper that you use for the waterfall. I made a little envelope. I stamped it with the crackle stamp. And then in the envelope, I just selected 2 of the tags from the paper pad and another one of the tags for the front. Now let's finish the outside. For the outside, I took another sheet of rice paper, DFSA 4384, and I selected some of the images that I'd like to use on the cover. Now for this, you're going to use your mixed media glue. So I thought what I would do for the front is simply just overlay this one image. And then take your glue and brush it over your cover. A little bit on the back. And just put it into place. And finish off the top to seal it. And you'll see how it picks up a little bit of the background, which makes it blend in nicely. And there you have it. Next, for the inside, what I wanted to do is have this one wrap around. So the same thing. And when you're finished, you will want to put a nice coat of the mixed media glue over the entire cover. And that keeps the rice paper sealed and protects it. Next, I selected just a simple tag from the paper pad. Now this is the actual paper, but you can attach it the same way you do with the rice papers. And I just centered that. I forgot to put it on the back, sorry. Now let's set that aside for just a minute and let it dry. Now for the band that goes around your folio, I just took some of the leftover paper from your inside cover, measured it out, made a band. On this one I did ink the edges just to kind of finish it off a little bit. And then I selected one of the tags and we're going to just attach it, and then it'll slip right over your folio. Well, now that everything's dry, here's our finished folio. I've attached the band, and make sure you leave enough room because you're going to be putting photos in, so you'll need a little extra room. And when you open it up, it's your beautiful waterfall. And on the bottom part, I should have mentioned this before, there was some white space, so all I did was add another piece of colored paper and then just used a small tag to finish it off. And there you have it. And here are the products that we use today. For the background, I used the Sizzix. This is a brand new product for me. It's called the Texture Roll. It comes in 7 colors. And this particular product, you can sew it, stain it, paint it, emboss it. You might also want to try the Stamperia stone paper. It works exactly the same way. I use the crackle stamp, the 𝐂𝐨𝐧𝐞, mixed media glue, the fine tip 𝐂𝐭 glue, rice paper for your cover, the DFSA 3027, and finally the 12 by 12 paper pad. Well, before we go today, I want to thank you again for watching, and I want to thank Scrapbook Expo for making this possible. I hope you try making the project that I designed for you today, and I want to show you a few other things before we go. Stamperia has a line of pre-made albums. Now, on this particular one, It's already done in the white. It'd be perfect for the rice papers that I showed you today. On these albums, they have the elastic bands, and you can also purchase the notebooks to go inside, and it has the stone paper cover. There again, you can use the rice papers with these. There's also another line of craft albums in various sizes. So for the real album makers, these might just work for you. And I hope you give them a try. And see you again soon. One last thing before I go. While I was filming this, I just got notification that the Fall 2020 collection is going to be out and available in November. So you might want to stop over at the website and see what's new. There's some exciting collections coming. One of them, I'll give you a sneak peek, is Orchids and Cats. You might like it.